Fallujah. 69 clicks west of Baghdad, on the banks of the Euphrates River, lies the city of mosques. While most of the population are Sunni and therefore likely support Saddam, they have no standing military and have taken a pragmatic pro-U.S. stance during the invasion. That changes not long after Corpsman Squall marches across the Tigris River, and American soldiers garrison themselves within a local schoolhouse. Hundreds of agitators break curfew to march in protest of a foreign force occupying their school, which is also the now vacated Ba'ath Party headquarters. Believing they're coming under attack, the soldiers release smoke canisters and eventually open fire. 2 days later, hoping to regain the trust of the local citizenry, those soldiers are replaced with a new, smaller unit. They wisely decide not to use the school as their base, which might have helped repair relations had 3 more protesters not been shot on the very day they arrived. After months of eroding trust, frequent skirmishes, and an effort to minimize U.S. forces in the city, there is a moment that changes how the entire world views the Al-Anbar province. 4 private contractors are guarding a convoy delivering food to a military base when they are ambushed by insurgents. The men are pulled from their vehicles, beaten and burned alive. After dragging the mangled and charred remains through town, the jubilant insurgents hang the bodies from the truss of a bridge. That's when the cooperation and humanitarian strategies end. The dogs of war tug at their leashes, riled up and raring to find those responsible for killing their countrymen, armed forces or not. 2,000 soldiers encircle the city, draw their weapons, and get ready to kick some ass. Almost exactly 1 year after Corpsman Squall entered Baghdad, his squad is on foot, about to march into the city of Fallujah before the sun rises.
"What's the hold-up?" Benjamin asks no one in particular. "This hurry-up-and-wait shit kills me. Don't you think they know exactly where we are and exactly what fucking street we'll be taking by now?" "Chill, B," says Tran. "We're only waiting because someone way above our pay grade has a plan." The word plan is overemphasized to the point of becoming 3 separate syllables. "Probably some desk jockey at the Pentagon," says Kyle. "I don't think they can see how exposed we are from their office window." Benjamin continues, "I'm tired of doing everything retarded. Why even train us in strategy?" Matracos takes a few steps away from the others and says, "We aren't force recon, we're grunts. We're the first in and last out, so quit your bitchin'." A skinny boy, caked with filth like a coal miner, darts out from an alley. When he sees the soldiers in the corner of his eye, he stops dead in his tracks. He watches the Americans warily, and they watch him with the same degree of trepidation. "Is he holding something?" asks Rogers. "Stay frosty," warns Stankiewicz. "Boy's got a bomb." Cox points his rifle. "Should I drop him?" Corpsman Squall scans the child and notices something peculiar. "Not a bomb," he says. "No bomb." "What the fuck is that?" Rogers asks. Gentile grimaces.
"Christ, what's wrong with him?"
First Lieutenant Tack calls for Muhammad, an Iraqi citizen working as a private contractor to translate for the battalion. Situations like this are made easier by his cooperation, but some of the Marines have difficulty trusting him. There are rumors Muhammad's been gathering intel about U.S. plans and feeding them to the enemy. "Tell him to clear the area." Before the order can be carried out, the kid chooses to step toward the Marines, who all hold their weapons a bit tighter. "Whoa, whoa, 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 wait!" Corpsman Squall grabs Muhammad by the flak jacket and tows the translator with him as he cautiously approaches the boy. The first lieutenant watches the corpsman with concern, but doesn't order him to stop. "Muhammad, ask him if I can take a look." The translator furrows his brow. "He's just a street kid. He can't help us." "I don't want him to help us," Corpsman Squall says. "I want to help him."
"Doc, don't wander off,"
says First Lieutenant Tack.
"The call's coming any moment now."
The corpsman offers an over-the-shoulder nod to the first lieutenant and then a pat on the back to the translator. "We just need 5 minutes." Like a fearful animal, the boy takes 2 steps back for each forward step the men take, but since he can't see or hear me, I seize the opportunity to examine him more closely than I could at that time. He's no more than 7 years old, but his eyes look weary enough to belong to someone 10 times that age. He's skinny and unwashed, wears tatters, rags, and probably hasn't eaten in a couple of days. His right arm is disfigured, tucked in against his body like a broken wing. Talk to him, Muhammad. Without the reluctance holding his tongue only moments before, Muhammad journeys to the boy on his own steam. He speaks to the child with sincerity, pointing at the boy's arm and then back at the corpsman. It takes a few moments of coaxing before the boy calms enough to allow Corpsman Squall to stand next to him. But when my younger self reaches for his arm, the boy pulls away, not out of pain, but from the nature of the touch itself. It seems clear to everyone watching this street urchin isn't accustomed to contact that isn't immediately followed by a swift kick. "It's all right," Corpsman Squall says soothingly. "I'm not going to hurt you." An aerial strike lights up the city. The boy leaps in fear but is soothed by the corpsman's gentle reassurances. Maletic kicks Chewie's pack. "Move your head, Chew. You're ruining my shot." Chewie steps out of Maletic's way.
All right, Spielberg. Wouldn't want to screw up your Oscar moment.
Antelic breathes in deeply, sniffing at the air with his eyes closed.
Y'all smell that? I tell you, that Haji food is way better than what they feed us.
"They're blowing up half the city, and Antelic's thinking with his stomach," says Paige. Chewie adds,
"Yeah, you sure you want to make that argument our chow's no good? You've put on about 10 pounds since we got in country."
Antelic shrugs.
"What can I say? I love those lobster and steak nights."
I crouch beside the boy, deciding he's suffering from a birth defect and not, as I assumed in my earlier life, an injury that had not healed properly. "You've got no one, huh?" I ask, expecting no answer. "You're out here on your own, aren't you?" Nicholas bows beside me.
"Who is he?"
Standing and shaking the sand out of my trousers, I say, "Well, like Muhammad said, he's just a street kid."
"Ouch!"
Grabbing the side of his face, Rogers looks around as though he's lost.
"Something just snapped past my ear."
"You hit?" Stankiewicz asks.
"I don't think so."
Rogers spins on his heels, yelping.
"There goes again. I think they're shooting at us."
"Who is?" A streak of fire crosses from one side of the street and slams into the buildings on the other. There are thunderous explosions all around us, sending concrete and glass flying. The boy runs from Corpsman Squall, disappearing down an alley. First Lieutenant Tack shouts,
"Find your cover!"
as he goes prone behind a concrete barrier. Using his night optics, he peers over the limited protection and scans for the source of fire. Corpsman Squall is pinned against the side of a 3-story house. He's mere steps away from his men, but if he takes just one, he'll be an open target. Seizing hold of Muhammad's jacket, he pulls the translator back to safety. Tack shouts. Enough of what he says can be heard over the tumult to communicate his intent.
"Doc, Muhammad, do not move. Stay right where you are."
"Anyone have eyes on the enemy?"
"Is an army over there? Is that friendly?"
"Nah, man, those are AKs." A spray of red and Chewy drops, clutching his neck.
"Gia boyas!"
"Y'all right, Chew?" Corpsman Squall shouts. "Is someone hit?"
"Stay put, Doc."
"Is Alvarez hit?"
"Where's he hit?"
"Was he hit?"
"All right." "It's his neck."
Corpsman Squall looks both ways as though he's preparing to cross the street. "I'm coming."
"God damn it, Squall, you stay put. That's an order."
Chewy grips his hands to his neck and shouts,
"I'm all right."
Page stays low and approaches his man. "Move your hand, Chew. Let me see." Chewy gives an unobstructed view of his wound, watching his commander's face for a sign of its severity. Page bites his lip to even out his expression. "I think you're okay."
"Hoorah, son."
Men appear in alleys and windows on rooftops. They fire their AKs with impunity. They're undisciplined. never looking down their sights, firing one-handed, sometimes not even looking at their targets as they shoot a burst and duck away. They're no match for the superior firepower of the U.S. Marines. They make up for their disadvantage, however, with numbers. The more of them that appears, the less defensible the Americans' position is. An RPG impacts the barrier, blasting a chunk of it away. There's another large explosion. The front of the building to the right crumbles. Shrapnel and smoke spew out at the crouched Marines, who scramble to fit together behind their shrinking cover. Pushed back by the advancing insurgents and pinned to the wall, Corpsman Squall is crawling out of his skin. His mind is already racing after his Marines, but Muhammad returns his earlier favor, pulling the corpsman back to safety and holding him there. First Lieutenant said stay. As the soldiers pick themselves up and press their backs against cover, Corpsman Squall readies his rifle and glares back at the translator. His face says everything. Don't try to stop me. But as he's staring at Muhammad, he takes a closer look at the house behind them. Inspiration strikes. Sir, this house is defensible. He repeats himself, growing louder and louder until he's certain he's been heard. Can you make your way to my position if I lay down cover?
First Lieutenant Tack studies the house and the pathway there. He does some quick calculations and shakes his head. All right, eyes on me. The warriors press in closer to their first lieutenant, and a terrible cry rises from behind the barrier. Corpsman Squall stands on his toes, trying to see what happened. Gentiles hit! He's fucked up, man. Doc, you gotta help him. Frustrated and angry, Corpsman Squall starts banging on the door. Muhammad joins in, shouting in Arabic. Stankiewicz, your men grab Gentile, First Lieutenant Tack says. We're following Corpsman Squall into that house. Pass it down. The 3-story house on my heels. 3-story house on your heels, the men repeat, and the message is echoed down the line in both directions. I want Stankiewicz and his men in the middle. Matrakos, you and your men are up here with me. Page, you're defending the rear. Oorah!
The cacophony of gunfire roars unbroken. Rockets streak through the air, slamming with great force around the concrete barrier. Boots grind Gentiles' blood into the sandy street. The men look to their leader, fear in their eyes. They pant in the desert heat, shouting almost as one. Oorah! As Corpsman Squall and Muhammad kick in the front door of the house, First Lieutenant Tack tells his men to lock and load while he himself gets ready to lead the charge.